Trevor, your reputation is working with sporting teams on their shoe wear. Can you tell me about your bespoke boots for soccer players?
The bespoke boot came about because of the problem we had with the boots that the players are wearing. What most people don't appreciate is that the players like to be able to feel the ball. So what they do is they wear their boots 1 to 2 sizes too small, so they're tight. And that obviously causes its own problems in terms of the way they load their feet, the pressure they get on the toes, etc. So we started out the concept thinking, well, we should be able to make a boot for the player that fits better but gives them the tightness and the feel they want. So that was kind of a very simple idea. And then someone threw into the equation, well, if you're giving them orthotics or you can improve function, can't you make the stud plate the orthotic? So that started us down a process of trying to design the stud plate, because the problem with stud plates are they're injection moulded. So they get all made out in the Far East, and it costs about £3,000 per mould per foot. So that's prohibitive for doing bespoke boots. So we started off working with Formula One, looking at bodywork, the materials, how they do that. And then we came across a technique, it's known as laser sintering or rapid prototyping, which effectively uses a computer-guided laser to weld powder together in layers. So you can make almost anything. And we use that to be able to convert an orthotic design into a stud plate with the studs incorporated, so it's unique for each player, and then custom make the last and therefore the fit of the boot and give them the tightness that they want.
Now, soccer players are a little like ballet dancers, aren't they? I mean, some of them have great problems with their feet.
Yeah, I mean, most players will have a problem at some stage, and they certainly all have problems around their toes, if not just the toenails, because of the tightness of the boots, plus the amount of force that these guys kick the ball with some force, and obviously they're involved in tackles. So the more serious injuries might range up to metatarsal fractures that became sort of popular a few years ago when Beckham first fractured his, and then there were a spate of metatarsal fractures. Sometimes the boots can be attributed to it. No one's been actually able to prove that a particular boot has caused a particular problem, but certainly there's been some concern that as boots have become lighter and thinner, that it may predispose to more trauma and more problems. But if you go into any professional changing room, you'll see the players sat there taping and strapping their feet and protecting them, because they know the areas that hurt, so then they take steps to try and avoid that.
As a mother of a 7.5-year-old, you know, it's really interesting. I'm very aware that badly fitting shoes mean he's going to injure his feet. Do some of these kids actually injure their feet early and then have recurring injuries through their soccer careers?
I wouldn't say. I mean, at 7.5, you're not going to see much of a problem there. When they get to academy age, which can start as early as 11 or 12, the academies now are really good. They don't push the players at all. Often they have to agree that they won't play for a club side, they'll only play for the academy, maybe school. If they get any injury, they make sure that they rehab them properly, they don't force them back in, whereas once upon a time, look, you have to play in 2 weeks' time. They appreciate how they've got to nurture the youngsters now. So you tend to see the classic problems that you would see in a growing child, and they improve with the management. And it's not until they really get to semi-pro, well, not semi-pro, when they become apprentices, etc. Now they start to fall into the category of the more serious injuries.
But a well-fitting boot is really important no matter what age, isn't it?
Well, I mean, having worked with professional footballers and advised patients of all categories over the years about footwear, I think what you have to appreciate is if they want to wear their boots tight because that's how they're comfortable playing, you can't really change that. What we can do is try and educate the youngsters and say, look, to the parents and the coaches of the youngsters, say, look, while they're young, have them wear the right size boots so you're not doing any lasting damage that way. But as they develop and they progress, then they've got to really wear the sportswear how they're comfortable to play so they perform properly.
What's next for you?
For me? I've got some discussions when I get back looking at some other sports and how we can use the technology. To my mind, making a football boot is the most complicated thing because of the stud plate. If you can make a football boot, then anything after that. It has huge potential for cycling shoes. I'm doing some studies with the London College of Fashion at the moment, looking at high-heeled court shoes and looking at the loading patterns beneath the ball of the foot, and to see if we can design some soles that redistribute the load to make them more comfortable.
So are you seriously saying you could actually potentially make high heels fabulously beautiful and comfortable at the same time?
We're researching to find out if we can make them more comfortable, yes, and it should be possible to reduce some of the symptoms. There's obviously going to be limitations to what we can do, but certainly already we're seeing some simple factors that will make a difference to the comfort level of a court shoe.